Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the July meeting of the Washington County Quorum Court to order. I welcome everybody here this evening. Welcome my colleagues. Welcome the public. We look forward to a very good evening of business in front of us. With that, we'd like to do the prayer and pledge. And with that, if you'll stand and bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight to conduct the business of the people of Washington County. We ask that your hands and your blessings be upon us. We ask that you open our ears and our hearts. We ask that you allow us to make the best decisions for our neighbors. But mostly, we ask that you guide us in continuing to build safe, wholesome communities. Dear Lord, we know that we face challenges over the next few years. We know that we seek your face. We seek your determination in all these decisions we'll make tonight. These things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. With that, we're going to move on to item number 3, which is the adoption of the agenda. Justice Rios Stafford.
Thank you, Judge. I move that everyone has an ordinance on their desk. You actually have 2 copies of the same ordinance. I'd like to move that to add to that to the agenda as item 9.1.
I have a motion to add item. I'm trying to decide how to designate this. Adding ordinance introduced by Rios Stafford. I have a motion by Justice Rios Stafford, second by Justice Dennis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That item will be new item number 18. Justice Coger?
Thank you. I want to remove item 16.6 from the consent agenda.
Item 16.6 will be removed from the consent agenda. Any further amendments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
I'm sorry, what was that last one? Remove 16.6 from the consent agenda?
Justice Coger asks that we remove item 16.6 from the consent agenda. That is the pleasure of any one member of the Quorum Court to ask that be removed. That's why we didn't take a vote.
And it just goes to the regular agenda.
It'll just be regular agenda. My current plan is to sever it from 16.5 and take it up as 16.6, but as its independent item. Any further motions? Entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. A motion to adopt the agenda as amended by Justice Lyons, a second by Justice Dean. All those in favor? Those opposed? The agenda has been adopted. Item number 4 are preliminary motions. Do we have any preliminary motions this evening? Justice Dean.
Thank you, Judge. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that all ordinances and resolutions be read by title only.
I have a motion by Justice Dean to read ordinances and resolutions by title only. Do I have a second? Second by Justice Ricker. All those in favor? Those opposed? Ordinances and resolutions will be read by title only. Item number 5 is citizens' comment period. We have a 15-minute citizen comment period with a limit of 3 minutes per individual to comment. Citizen comments. Please come forward and state your name, where you're from. Button on the right.
I'm Nikki Lockett. I'm at 12283 Greasy Valley in Prairie Grove. And I just wanted to discuss the wind energy moratorium again and urge you to reconsider. I just want to cover some of the discussion comments that were made in the June 30th County Services Committee meeting, which was really good discussion, but that go to show that we really do need a moratorium. One of the justices said that they talk about a wind turbine catching on fire. It's kind of like the electric cars that run around all day long. We don't have a fire truck to put them out either, so we don't have a fire truck to put a wind turbine either. I would really say there's not a comparison between a 19-foot electric SUV and a 700-foot wind turbine. The car is on the ground, the wind turbine's vertical and going up through the air. Initially, I thought some of these comments were downplaying, but then I realized it's actually just a lack of knowledge because of not having fact-based information, which is why we need time to study these. Here's some other examples. The same justice says we talk a lot about the oil. Then the turbines have about 128 gallons of oil on them. 128 gallons of oil ain't gonna destroy the world. It might kill the grass for a little bit. Oil spills can infiltrate the soil, causing the inability to absorb the water, and the nutrients could potentially ruin crops, seep into the groundwater, contain drinking water, has polyacrylic, some of them can have polyacrylic aromatic hydrocarbons, which is a component in many oils, which can persist in the environment for years, causing long-term harm in ecosystems, cause severe health problems to wildlife, and disrupt migration patterns, and can affect livestock that depend on the land for food and water. And they could cascade through the food chain, causing ecological imbalance. Another comment was regarding the decommission. Yeah, when the wind turbines run out of the daylight, then they're done. If the company goes bankrupt, yeah, the taxpayer is going to be liable for it. The taxpayer is going to be liable for Nuclear One down in Russellville, which is the most cleanest, effective energy they are. I agree with that. Nuclear is the most clean, effective energy there is, and I think we need to really study nuclear more and less on the wind energy. But it's in a good source of energy. It's been dependable. That is correct. Nuclear One celebrated 50 years, December of 2024. Wind turbine lifespan's about 30 years from what I understand, with the blades needing to be replaced like every 5 to 7 years. Another thing is, same justice, and another thing coming, we're fighting over a little bit of wind turbine. There could be a waste management trash dump put out there too. We, Washington County residents, is gonna fight the battle of a landfill in Washington County soon. It's coming, it's coming. Would you rather have a 40 wind turbines to look at or a 200-acre landfill? What I would say, we need to study how much do we need to increase that 200 acres to make room for all the wind turbines, the blades and the parts that are going to end up there. Also say, I'm not going to say I'm for the wind turbines. I'm not going to say I'm against them. I don't have enough knowledge to make a good vote either way right at this point. We got to have a lot more information. We got to have a lot more
Thank you,
talk.
ma'am. That's time.
That's exactly why we need to have the
Appreciate you.
moratorium. Thank you very much.
Public comments.
First of all, thank you to everyone who's responded to my notes. I'm Charles McKinney, 19956 Lakeview Road, and I want to say that the ordinance that's before you that asserts that the federal law prohibits the county from requiring a cup is false. You're not prohibited. Federal law does not prohibit us from acquiring a cup. Eagle Crest Recovery, a commercial short-term residential treatment center with staff and rotating clients, is not equivalent to a group home or a single-family residence and may lawfully be classified as a commercial use. No provision of federal law requires classification of Eagle Crest as a single-family home or gives it an exemption from CRUP procedures. It's not discriminatory to require a commercial drug treatment facility such as Eagle Crest to obtain a conditional use permit. The joint statement affirms, that was the basis of the decision that this was illegal. The joint statement affirms that local governments may enforce health, safety, and land use rules as long as they do not intentionally or effectively discriminate based on disability. Eagle Crest was denied for a cup because of noncompliance with provisions requiring septic system and adequacy for a number of occupants and compliance with Arkansas fire codes. All of these issues you're familiar with. The Fair Housing Act does not require that reasonable accommodations, the Fair Housing Act does require reasonable accommodations. However, reasonable accommodations do not include exemption from the CUP process. Eagle Crest has effectively been given a reasonable accommodation by giving it time to come into compliance. I urge the court to uphold the CUP requirement and to urge Eagle Crest to come into a compliance and reapply for a CUP. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments.
Good evening. My name is Mary McKinney. I live at 19980 Lakeview Road. I'm here to raise some serious concerns about public safety and county liability. The insurance office, otherwise known as ISO, this may be news to you, but I think it's important, very important in this case, has recently downgraded the Nob Hill Fire Department rating from a 5 to an 8, with 10 being the highest. Downgraded. That rating reflects level of training, inadequate staffing, inadequate water supply, delayed emergency capacity. An ISO score is a measure of how prepared we are to protect life and property. In the middle of this downgrade, the county has allowed Eagle Crest Recovery, a commercial inpatient drug alcohol treatment rehabilitation facility, not a group home, to operate without fire sprinklers in a rural zone with poor water supply and fire protection. This isn't just a violation of the county zoning ordinance, it is an unacceptable disregard of known risk. When the county ignores warnings, fails to require Arkansas Fire Code compliance, and allows a commercial inpatient treatment facility with at least 20 occupants at night to operate without fire department certification of compliance without meeting fire safety standards, it exposes vulnerable people and the neighbors, myself included, to preventable harm. Voting in favor of repealing this CUP is willful disregard of known risk, which crosses into legal culpability, similar to the situation we saw of recent in Texas, where authorities failed to install flood warning sirens. Ignoring a known risk, repealing the CUP, and failing to enforce existing regulations is not acceptable. I will urge you tonight, we have requested an Arkansas State Attorney General opinion, and I will urge you tonight to wait on that opinion before your decision is made. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments.
Good evening. My name is Amber Henderson. My address is 19785 Natural Walk Road. I'm here to ask for the reversal of the CUP permit that was approved for the Genesis RV Park. Our area is zoned for agricultural and single-family use. Just as the McKinneys have said, we have very, very low water pressure. Springdale Water Utilities has actually stated that they are not approving anything other than single-family homes. So I'm not sure exactly how they're going to go ahead and get the RV park approved with 41 slots. We are desperately asking that this not be added to our neighborhood. It falls behind those standards that are required for a CUP, just simply for the water alone. The location disrupts the character of our land. It threatens our peace. It upsets our farm animals, which I personally have. I am literally right next to this proposed RV park. We do not have the infrastructure when it comes to our roads. They are tiny. If you add, just the other day, I was driving. I have a little Toyota Tacoma. I got ran off the road. And mind you, we have deep haulers right across from where they're asking this. Somebody has died right across from where they're wanting to bring in 41 RVs, right across the road from them. Deep ravines. I almost got ran off into it just for a full-size pickup truck. There's no way that our safety cannot be paramount when it comes to these RVs being brought in. Nothing, we have asked for the road department to come fix our roads. They are not. I did the appeal paperwork for tonight. 100 of my personal neighbors are begging you guys to reverse this, to not approve something that is going to be detrimental to our land, to our safety, and our water pressure. We have no water pressure out there in Nob Hill. I urge all of you to drive out there and to see. They're wanting this for recreation. There is no recreation. Our road ends in a tiny little road that goes to the lake. There's no swimming down there. It's for boating. I'm not sure what recreation they're wanting. I've never had problems with these neighbors, but it is very disappointing to me that they are disrupting our lives so immensely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Public comments.
Hello, my name is Zachary Pugh. I also live at 19785 Natural Walk Road. I'm here to speak in plain terms. As my predecessor has mentioned, I do not understand how this will not affect public safety in massive detriment. We ourselves, speaking from anecdote, we ourselves have a full-size trailer hitch RV that we keep, and as we were bringing it in, we disrupted traffic immensely. I would like to point out that if there were 41 allotments for these RVs, we would see a massive increase in this traffic, especially when we live on a two-lane road, one going out, one going in. We've been stuck where we had to maneuver around boats and get through particularly tight situations, not to mention our entire road is in disrepair. We have had to personally buy concrete to seal potholes on the side of the road. I, for one, have popped 2 tires going down the road because I've had to swerve out of the way of people driving in the center of the road with even just john boats. I'm unfamiliar with how many of you participate in outdoor sports such as fishing, but john boats are very small 1 to 2 man craft that you take on the water. Not to mention, for the recreation, the only port into the lake that we have near that this RV park would be essentially gets congested with just a few trucks. And I'm not talking large modern trucks. I'm talking trucks from the 2000s that are significantly smaller, carrying dinged up old john boats that have been used by their families for years. With these large RVs coming in, not only would they have to bring in the RVs, but they would also have to bring in their boats. And I just don't think that we have the infrastructure to support that kind of travel. I am unsure how many of you have ever personally been there, but as I've mentioned several times, our roads are not up to that standard. Not only would it disrupt our safety and our ability to travel to work and to our friends and our, wherever we need to go, but it would also cause an immense amount of damage. That's all I'm here to say.
Thanks, sir. Public comments.
My name is Stacy Bennett. I live at 19980 Lakeview Road. In 2022, the Washington County Eagle Crest location received a 6-month license from Arkansas DHS for up to 15 beds. 5 fire sprinklers being mandatory, beginning with 5 people. Eagle Crest didn't have them, but agreed to install them if granted their license. Additionally, the county requested a DR for a soil septic test as part of their permit for 15 beds. In a declaration filed in the U.S. District Court December 10th, 2024, Eagle Crest COO referred to its group home occupants as patients 13 times. The declaration also stated, it is anticipated that currently Eagle Crest has 17 patients. It is anticipated that between 17 and 22 patients will be at the group home on January 4th, 2025. In addition to the patients, Eagle Crest has approximately 14 employees, and 3 to 6 are always present. Both Arkansas and International Fire Code states that once you have 16 beds, it requires R2 occupancy, therefore a 13R fire sprinkler system.
Just hold up just 1 second. That our public comment time has expired. Justice Rivera Lopez.
Motion to suspend the rules to add how many minutes? Motion to suspend the rules to add 21 minutes.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rules and add 21 minutes to public comments. Motion by Justice Rivera Lopez, second by Justice Lyons. All those in favor? Those opposed? Thank you, Ms. Bennett. Please continue. Sorry about the interruption.
No, thank you. At the time Eagle Crest opened, they were supposed to install R4 sprinkler systems. Now they need R2 sprinkler systems. They don't have sprinkler systems. The Arkansas Department of Health requires a septic system servicing 20-plus persons per day must also have a Class 5 injection well subsurface permit from DEQ. So a permit from DEQ and approval from ADH. Eagle Crest has never performed the soil test that any of us are aware of. Why not? Eagle Crest claims it's seen hundreds of patients since opening. It also states that the average person stays between 30 to 90 days, beds are full, and the average cost is $25,000 per month. If you have 20 patients per month, you're billing $500,000 a month. If you've had 200 patients since you opened 2.5 years ago, that's $5 million billable dollars. And yet every time they're asked about infrastructure improvement needs, responses have been, we're waiting on a CUP approval since it's hundreds of thousands of dollars to do so, and we don't want to spend the resources necessary for this work. I had to check my math 5 times. So 20 patients at $800 per day is $16,000 per day of codable and billable services at this single-family residence.
Thank you, ma'am. Your
Thank
time's
you.
expired. Public comments.
Okay. Hello, my name is Claudia Henderson. I live at 19719 Natural Walk Road, and I would hope that you do not approve the CUP RV RV park that's going in, because I do live right in that curve where they're wanting to put their entrance in, and it is not safe. I have had several construction vehicles with trailers run off the road and lose nails and stuff in my driveway because they have to swerve for other vehicles and big dump trucks coming out of War Eagle Cove and Natural Walk on further down. This is also a concern of mine, that the children have to get off the school bus at the church there within that area. And school does get out early on Wednesdays, and that means the school bus will be coming through there at 3, and I'd heard something about, well, they're gonna have to check out at 3, but that's gonna be more traffic. You have to worry about your children walking from the bus stop to their home. The roads are very narrow. They're not taken care of. I've called road department several times. I've not seen anything improved. I've even called them 3 times in the last 2 weeks to come and trim the weeds off the side, because yes, you will get run off the road going around the curves. It's not feasible. It's very dangerous, and I do not want to see our young children coming home from school and getting run over or run off the road because they can't see around the curve because it's an RV coming or there's a dump truck coming the opposite direction. It's ridiculous. We need some help, and we need it bad. And I know I've called the road department, and the camp will be coming up beside my property, and it is agriculture, supposed to be agriculture land, not recreational land. And like my neighbor said earlier, there's no recreation out there. All you have is the road to the lake and the boat ramp. And you can't really swim down there because it's a boat ramp, and it gets out of bounds like the rains we've had this year. And I do hope that you do listen to us loudly and seriously. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Public comments.
Good evening, Diana Scott, 299 North Platinum, Fayetteville. I was opening an email a few days ago and read of a plan to open a woman's prison, jail, where we had a woman's jail. So I was confused, and I thought, well, maybe this is a new and improved version or something. I did my best to research it, and what I found concerns me. You have a resolution on tonight's agenda, which would allow you to apply for a grant to fund the expansion of what's being called the Community Rebuilding Initiative. The CRI has a 30-bed capacity for men in the former Crisis Stabilization Unit site, but it's only just begun to operate fully. So if that's going to be used as a template for how this 70-bed facility is run, I don't really think you have the data you need to make good decisions yet. Getting back to the actual 70-bed facility, affording it, the amount of $1 million has been brought up, but that's what it costs to run the 30-bed facility. So I don't see how that math works if you have a 70-bed facility. Further, the resolution for tonight is to forward a grant for $1.5 million, but those are funds earmarked to remodel the former women's jail, not to operate it. It's my understanding you don't have plans yet on how you're going to afford it. So the viability of this project concerns me. It's complicated. I feel like I'm way in the weeds here, but I am just an average citizen. That's why we elect officials, to do the due diligence and spend our money wisely. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments.
Cassandra Deason, 19831 Natural Walk Road. There's no way RVs can get through there. You can barely get a school bus down through there. My kids went to school, and the school bus can barely get through there. RVs are not going to fit through there if they have to come down that road. So I don't know how y'all are going to vote, but I'm telling you, this is going to be hard. There's been so many wrecks. It splits, goes down Natural Walk, and then it splits again right in front of my house. So when it splits, that's where all the wrecks have been. So I don't think this is going to work. But just saying, RVs are too big to go down that road. But that's about what I got to say. So I just don't want nobody to get hurt. So, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And with that, we'll move on. Item number 6 is approval of the minutes. The minutes of the June 19th, 2025 Quorum Court meeting were sent out with a packet. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, I'll motion to accept. Motion to accept by Justice Ecke, second by Justice Steen. All in favor? Those opposed? The minutes have been accepted. First off, I want to thank tonight for the snacks and the refreshments provided by the 4-H Sharpshooters Club. What an incredible group of young individuals that I got to meet tonight. Thank you so much for being here and helping us out. I see the gentleman in through the window there who's their coach, and so I appreciate that. He's well known for that wide-brimmed hat, so I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for letting us meet some of the fine youth of Washington County and learn a little bit more about what their pursuits are and their hard work. I want to say it's been just a great and very exciting summer for us here. I think 2.5 years into a new judge's administration, with the cooperation of you, ladies and gentlemen, we're really starting to see some things come about, if you will. And where I bring that, where I'm taking that, is I want to give a shout out to every one of our teams all around the county, all of our county employees who I think are going above and beyond to not only cover their job duties, but also to try to innovate and make Washington County better, made more efficient for you, the taxpayers, and deliver services in a better manner. And I just see that every day in every one of our a lot of our workforces in every one of our departments, and I just really appreciate our staff and want to say that. Roads, we continue to try to catch up after our storm season. We lost several great weeks there due to all the heavy rains in terms of new construction. Just a lot of cleaning up and restoring a lot of our roads back to where they were, but I'm proud to say that we're trying to run very quickly to get all those projects that we had slated for this year done. I will say that our road department's innovated. You've seen the videos about the road forge process that we're doing to the chip seal roads that we're putting down now. You'll see those out around the county now. What we're essentially doing is treating those chip seal roads, and it's a dust elimination process. But also through that, we see a lot better safety. We're also allowing now to stripe and reflect our roads. And so I'm proud of that because that was a system, that is a process that was innovated within our road department. We actually had ergon asphalt and emulsions one of our vendors here this week, which was watching that process, learning about the process, and helping us fine-tune that process. That relationship with that vendor means that we not only get access to their data and their scientific know-how, but they can continue to tweak that product and make sure it's the best for the application that we've innovated in. So I'm extremely proud of that, and I hope the Washington County public can be proud of that as they go around the county. We understand chip seal. It's quick and it's dirty. And the dust is a huge problem, and we're trying to innovate and get around that so that we can bring you better infrastructure, but also mitigated dust. Hats off to our road leadership team who's tried to innovate that. CRI, Community Rebuilding Initiative, it is continues to be a really hot topic around the county. It's very successful to this point. I want to say that after celebrating the NACO Award with you, ladies and gentlemen, last week, we were able to deliver that NACO Award for higher standards to the staff of Returning Home, and Returning Home, who is our vendor partner in the Community Rebuilding Initiative. And what I want to say is those people are doing phenomenal work, and they're really excited about what this holds for not only our area but for our state. And that's where I'll go. We've been hosting a lot of meetings there over the last few weeks with different officials from different departments and different entities. What we're seeing now is there's a regional focus to this. We are now in the highlight, we're in the spotlight of regionally. People are asking us questions, and we've always said we want to try to help other jurisdictions or other areas of the state see the benefits of Community Rebuilding Initiative. And so we continue to work with state legislators and members of the governor's administration to highlight this program and to say, if we need more prison capacity in the state of Arkansas, we also can have more capacity to do programs like this. And I think it's very exciting. And a lot of people have a very optimistic look about that over the next few years. I want to give special thanks to State Senator Kim Hammer, County Judge Barry Morning, and Benton County Circuit Judges Smith and Judge Karen for coming down and touring that area and touring our Community Rebuilding Initiative. We do have an ordinance on a resolution on the books tonight to remodel the old prison facility. We continue to daydream about all the possibilities that could bring. One of the major benefits that we see there is we have a great ability to do some workforce training in that building. So that's what that expanded building will. We want a women's program. We've promised a women's program. We run to that very quickly. We want to try to get that off the floor by the first of the year. That's a very aggressive timeline, but we're not dissuaded from it yet. We'll continue to work that way. I had the chance to go to the XNA ribbon cutting for the new Crystal Bridges exhibit the other day. I just want to give hats off. The Northwest Regional Airport is a regional asset. We, along with Benton County and all of our municipal partners, are part of that asset. And what I would like to say is that leadership continues to build and progress that airport. I was teasing them the other day. I had to fly out earlier this summer, and the parking garage was full. And so that's where we've come as a region, is that airport continues to build parking spaces, but it continues to be more popular. And so hats off to that leadership team. I think they're doing a phenomenal job at XNA, both the executive team and the board there, to progress XNA into the future. One of the positions I received when being elected Washington County Judge was to sit on the executive committee of the Northwest Arkansas Regional Ambulance Authority. For us, that is Central EMS. What I would like to report to you, ladies and gentlemen, is just like any of our other first responding entities, they've had a very hard time since COVID, both with escalating costs of care, escalating supplies, and then also with their staffing. They've rolled out a new basic life support model to where they can put more ambulance teams on the streets. What we see is response times improve, especially to our smaller municipalities all throughout the county. I will also highlight CEMS, Central EMS, is one of the biggest assets we have going in this county. It's a coalition of us and this municipalities within this city, within this county, with the exception of Springdale. They have their own ambulance service, and you can see that. But what I want to highlight to you, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is what a dedicated service we have there and what a complete asset we have there. I am warned many times by my Benton County colleague, Judge Mooring, to not lose the alliance that we have with ambulance service within Washington County, because it is guaranteed to give the citizens the best service at the best price. But where I'm going, I was critical. We subsidize Central EMS as the cities and county participant. When I got on that board and looked at the regionals agreements, I was very concerned about the lack of an objective equation that we're using to divide that subsidy between the counties and the cities. And tonight I want to say that we have a new subsidy agreement that was voted on this week by the board. And I want to thank all of our municipal participants there. Now we have a very objective equation based upon population, geographic region covered, and call times. And so we can grab that data from Central EMS and have that. What I can say now is, to me, this puts us on a footing to make Central EMS healthy for the next 20 years. This coalition of the cities and the county is strong, and I want you guys to have faith that we're doing everything we can to support the mission of Central EMS and the judge's office, and I know you ladies and gentlemen do that around the horseshoe all you can, and so be excited about that. As you might have seen in the media, it got a little ahead of us, but the Northwest Arkansas Council has suggested convening the quorum courts of Benton and Washington County in a common meeting. Mayor Doug Sprouse is very excited and is wanting to host that meeting because his city sprawls the two counties. And what has initially started this is the NWA Council hired DPZ Consulting to do a study about our growth, the challenges, and maybe some strategies. And so what this meeting will be is an informational meeting just to get together with our colleagues from Benton County and have this presentation, but we would also welcome maybe some other topics of regional importance. What I remind the citizens of, this will not be a business meeting, we will not be voting on business, but it is very symbolic that our two counties might get together and talk about some regional challenges and opportunities that we see. To my knowledge, that has never happened to get the legislative bodies together, and so I think that could be a really exciting time. It's almost impossible to find a date on the calendar that will accommodate these two groups, but one of the few they've found is September 22nd. And so what we're initially looking for is the evening of September 22nd at Springdale City Hall. And so if you could block that off your calendars and look for further details. And if I would also like to, is that something that you guys, maybe by a show of hands, is that something you're interested in pursuing? If you will, if you raise your hands, that would be great. We'll get to work on that, try to get that scheduled. So look for more details. We're very excited about what that might have. Switching big gears now, I have a very somber moment for us. Over the last year, or over the course of last year, our office received credible complaints regarding both the misuse of county property and the theft of county funds at the sheriff's office. After review of the internal investigations and the Office of Professional Conduct reports produced by the sheriff's office, I found their inquiry inadequate. As a result, I requested Chief of Staff Stewart, County Attorney Lester, Deputy County Attorney Baker to conduct an independent investigation. While personnel matters pertaining to this instance will always be underneath the authority of the sheriff, county property is underneath the authority of the county judge per the Arkansas Constitution. Our investigation was forwarded to the Arkansas State Police on November 12, 2024. A special prosecutor was eventually assigned. I'm not for sure of all these dates as they moved through these channels. And we have received a letter dated July 2nd, 2025 from Special Prosecutor Jason Barrett, who found part of the investigation did not rise to criminal prosecution, and that the accusations had merit, and that part of the investigation did not have merit, did not rise to criminal prosecution. And that accusations that did have merit would be better handled by the civil procedures and the provisions of an illegal exaction, and that further action should be considered by the county attorney, by the civil county attorney's office, which is the county attorney in Leicester. I want to say this has been an incredibly difficult time for our county. We are a family, and we love one another, and we do everything we can to support all of our missions in the county, whether we're directly involved or indirectly involved. Sunshine and transparency are the only medicine for this issue. As such, all of our investigatory materials from the county judge's office have been filed with the circuit clerk's office and are fully available for public viewing. I want to speak directly to the officers who wear the badge, who so bravely serve us. This is by no means any reflection upon anything you do day to day. Your honor and dedication are preserved through this investigation. Any failures will be at leadership or policy levels. We look forward to working with the Quorum Court on needed reforms. And finally, and most importantly to the public, as public servants, we are bound by constitutional duty to ensure that every public asset is managed with the utmost care and integrity. Every single resource entrusted to us at the county comes from the hard-working hands of the Washington County taxpayers, and we will not tolerate waste, misuse, or threat to those resources. We enforce a strict zero-tolerance policy for any actions that undermine the public's trust, and we are taking immediate steps to strengthen our oversight and prevent future misconduct. Our commitment to safeguarding the interests of Washington County remains unwavering, and we will continue to hold ourselves to the highest standards of accountability because that is what you, the taxpayers, demand. And with that, I'm going to move on. I have appointment tonight to the library board. Mayor Reed transmits us the nomination of Mr. Jerry Kopke. I don't have it with me, but I believe it was sent out with the packet, and I would entertain a motion to confirm Mr. Kopke. I have a motion to confirm by Justice Pond, a second by Justice Ricker. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? We welcome Mr. Kopke to the Washington County Library Board. With that, we're going to move on to our unfinished business portion of our agenda. Counselor, will you read item number 8 by title only? This item is on the second reading.
Item 8 is an ordinance repealing ordinance 2023-26.
All right. Any discussion or motions? Justice Lyons.
I move we suspend the rules and move it to third and final reading.
I have a motion to suspend the rules on item 8.1 and move it to a third and final reading. Do I have a second? Second by Justice Dean. I have a motion to suspend the rules and move it to a third and final reading by Justice Lyons, second by Justice Dean. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? No. Let's show a division of the assembly. He's doing a good job teaching us, isn't he? If you're in favor of suspending the rules and moving to a third and final reading, please stand.
If you're in favor.
In favor of moving to a third and final reading. The motion requires 10. That motion fails. With that, we'll move to the third and final reading next month. Counselor, will you read item 9.1 by title only?
An ordinance creating new planning and zoning law in Washington County and for other matters pertaining thereto.
Justice Ecke.
Thank you, Judge. This is to adopt a new county planning and zoning ordinance that, number 1, better protects the beautiful rural parts of Washington County. Why don't we wait until they've cleared the building? That's okay. Thank you. That's fine. We're just going to hold until people leave the courtroom. Thank you. They wanted it. Do you think it's okay now, Judge? Item number 9 is an ordinance to adopt a new county planning and zoning ordinance that, number 1, better protects the beautiful rural parts of Washington County. Number 2, allows for zoning and rezoning of property. Number 3, and is a more advantageous process for our citizens to follow. Therefore, I move that we pass item number 9, or move it on to the third and final reading.
The appropriate motion would be to suspend the rules and move it to the third and final reading.
Suspend the rules and move it to the third and final reading.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and move it to the third and final reading by Justice Ecke. Second. Justice Lyons. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? If you're in favor of suspending the rules and move it to the third and final reading, will you please stand? We want. Yeah. Okay. Okay. 5. That motion fails. Item number 9 will move to the next month's Quorum Court meeting. Okay. This will be the new business portion of our agenda. First up is the Genesis RV Park CUP. The way this will work is we're going to have county planning staff come up and give us a summary of the project. We will then invite any other agencies here who might be here this evening that want to have public comment on this. We will then invite the applicant up to present, and then we will give time for any opposition or support comments from the public at the end. The Quorum Court can then discuss this item, and then we will make a motion one way or the other, and that's why this is split into 3 agenda items and for a little bit of more explanation there. But with that, Dr. Atta, Planning Director for Washington County, the floor is yours, sir.
We're waiting on switching gears here. Alrighty. So, good evening, everyone. Genesis RV conditional use permit. The Planning Board approved the project on May 1st. Four members voted yes, and 1 member voted against. 2 members were absent. Next slide, please. So the neighbors of the project filed an appeal on May 30th, and the file number is 2025-05, and we're going to go over the reason. We summarize the reason, but they provided lots of reason for the overturning that approval. So this is the site map of the project, and this is a deep dive into the project to see where the roads are. Those are the neighbors that being notified. I believe we notified 10 of them. There was 11 notifications sent out for 11 neighbors. So the applicant is seeking a conditional use permit approval to allow the operation and development of an RV park, which is going to be proposed and constructed over 3 phases. Each one of them is about 15 pads to reach up to 41. That's the maximum. With water services, multiple sanitation, septic system, electric services, and detention pond. And their water source is going to be digging a well. That has been done many times in other RV parks as well in that area. The applicant is going to be utilizing the single-family residence that is located on the property as the office, and our operation is going to be 8 to 5, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and the RV entrance is going to be limited from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. This CUP approval will allow the phasing entirely, the 3 phasing at the same time, but each phase will come as a separate large scale when this is approved and ratified. So the project is located on Natural Walk Road, which is about 3/4 of a mile from Beaver Lake, and a new driveway aisle will be constructed through the middle of the site, and everything checks out for the right-of-way as approved by the road department. We received multiple emails and phone calls from 28 public complaints. I didn't want to say neighbors because some of them they're also outside the notification area. So opposing that, citing reduced property value, water services shortage, increased traffic and traffic safety, environmental concerns, general safety concerns, public safety basically, incompatibility with the surrounding natural wildlife and rural residential area, potential littering, trespassing, transients, and full-time campers. 7 of the members who were 7 members of the public opposing the CUP project voiced their concern in person during the planning board meeting. And we have a multitude of planning conditions, and the ones in blue, that is that's outstanding ones that the applicant and his representation agreed to during the planning board. Any questions?
Questions for Dr. Atta? Justice Lyons?
Dr. Atta, I apologize if I missed this, but did you get any comments back from the Springdale water?
Well, we do. I don't have them on me, but like the staff report, like that's available online. They had about like 15, 16 conditions, and like it's like the typical conditions they send to everyone. So if there is basically those conditions when they send them out, if there is no water service, they will let you know there is no water service or water shortage. But to be able, like the applicant and his representative, the engineer, like he let us know that like they are trying to dig a well for like just to be on the safe side. So if the water service is not adequate, so they will have a backup, and the backup will be the water service from Springdale, and the main is going to be like from that well they're going to dig.
Thank you. Can you also talk about Washington County roads? I believe our roads are built based on specification that's identified by ordinance. Could you
Yes,
confirm
sir.
that and talk to that?
Each time we do a technical review, we send like the neighbor, like we send like the same technical questions to all our like reviewers, including the road departments. And if there was any like concern from them, they would have let us know. All our roads are like minimum built like to 20 feet, like 20 foot like width, which is like required by like the health, by the fire safety for fire trucks, and a minimum of 13 point, I guess 4 or 6 like vertical clearance. So that's what like the minimum like road like width in the county for like most of like the county roads like that's funded by public money for safety, and that's why we have like buses, school buses that like ride, like use them for safety as well. If the road department had any concern, they would already have like addressed it. That's something not like my department or our like the planning department like take care of, and I don't know what's their like maintenance schedule and when they're gonna get to if there is any issue, but like they're aware and they've provided us with like all the comments that like we needed, and they're like posted on the with the staff report that's available online.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Justice Bruins?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Otto?
Yes, sir.
I have driven that road many times, and that road is a mess. I mean, that's to say the best. And I think, from what I'm hearing, is we're really not going to do anything about it.
It's not my department. You need to reach out to the road department.
No, my question is, why can't you make a condition on the RV park to at least put a bond up to cover repairing the road, fixing the road, and stuff like that? That is your department.
I don't have this like in my ordinance. I cannot force this on my applicants, and I don't have it in my ordinance. That's a road department issue.
So we're just going to let them. Yeah.
It's up to you. It's like it's your decision. I don't make the decision here.
Okay.
Justice Dennis?
Thank you, Judge. My question is this: how long can a person stay at an RV park?
What's that? Excuse me.
How long can a person who's coming to the RV park stay?
Oh yeah. So that we have a condition for that. It's up here. It's like the last page, please. Yes. Length of stay. It's here. Like we normally like you don't stay more like 990.
I guess.
You can't stay more than 90 consecutive days, and you have to leave and come back if you have to leave. So it's not like continuous to become a permanent residence.
Okay, I missed what you said. How long?
90 days, 90.
90?
Yes.
So they leave and come back, they can stay
Yes, sir.
100.
They have to.
They can stay 180.
Yep.
Well, what I'm seeing at some RV parks, and I'm not an expert about it at all, but I see them stay there and stay there and stay there. It just becomes a place that they live.
I know.
Versus the place that they visit.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we know. We put those conditions, and this is up to the applicant and the property owner like to enforce all of this. We don't go and like ask the applicant or like the people who are going to use this to sign a contract with the planning. They sign a contract with the property owner. So the property owner should like police this unless if there is any complaints, they can always like reach out to the sheriff's department. But we put those conditions for one reason, so that the applicant can at least like honor those conditions. Yep.
Okay, along that same line, if they can stay 90 days and they can drive out and turn around and drive back in, so it's 180 days. Tanks, the sewer tanks on the RVs are not that big, so where's the sewer going to?
I'm gonna leave all those like comments for the engineer, but if you take a look, Dave, you can go like up 3. One more, one down, one more. Yes. They have 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5 septic. Is it 5? There's a primary and alternate. Yes, so they have the primary and the alternate septic, and this was approved by the health department.
So how many gallons is that?
It's enough to accumulate more than 41. I'm going to leave all the technical to the engineer. I don't want to take his time either. So. And this was redrawn twice, and it was reviewed by the county engineers and was sent back to the applicant's engineer, and it was done twice just to make sure like everything is accurate.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Justice Massengill?
Yeah, thank you. Do you have a larger map showing the kind of the location on the road where this?
This is like, if you go up 1,
You have another?
Yeah, that would be like the general view. And if you go up 2, there is like the one that shows like the full zoom out. Yes.
Okay. And so that road, Natural Walk Road, is that a paved road?
I honestly can't remember, but I believe it is. I believe it is.
Okay. It is a paved road?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you know how wide it is?
It's 20.
20 foot wide?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the standard for?
That's standard, like as I mentioned, like for like fire safety and everything else. That's like that's the minimum by the state of Arkansas.
Okay, and is this I guess this is considered a large-scale development?
Yes, it's coming. So that's a conditional use permit. Once it's approved for the 3 phases, they're going to come one at a time. So each phase is going to come as a large scale, and it's going to be discussed in depth separately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that come to us, or does that get?
No, it comes to the planning board.
Okay, so once we approve it, then the planning board.
We go step by step, one at a time, and each phase takes up like to 18 months to finish, and they have to finish it within the 18 months, or they have to apply for an extension.
Okay, and how big is the first phase? How many
15 pads.
15?
So they're going to go 15 each until they reach the 41.
Okay.
And like that might not like be a whole like 41. They might like just stop at the first one, like the 15, and you see how long that's going to take them if this is, if this business is going to pick up or not. So it's not like if you approve this, it's like for sure like the 41 they're going to be like constructed tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, and let's say they do the first phase, and then let's say they don't meet the terms of the conditional use permit. Can it be withdrawn?
It's any time you don't meet the conditions and like you become out of compliance, anything you build reverts back to agricultural use and single family residence, which is like, that is basically a good example of like mixed use in the county.
So what I'm saying is, if they get the cup, they get 15 pads, and then they come back for phase 2, does that cup get reviewed to make sure that
Oh no,
the
CUP condition should apply to all the phases. So that's the nature of the CUP. If you apply for like the entire phases, you approve like the entire phases for like the conditional use, because like you're not using, it's not sectioned. You're using the whole parcel as. So you are like phasing the one parcel like into like 3 projects basically.
Right. Yeah,
each large scale of them comes separate.
Right.
Yep, it's like everything in the county is like based on parcels. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, when they come back for phase two, would the CUP get reviewed to make sure they're in compliance with the CUP?
Oh, definitely.
Before phase two moves
yeah,
forward?
each CUP, each large scale, before it becomes, large scale comes in like two parts, preliminary and final. So once you do the preliminary and they go like, let's say like they finish in about a year, before they become operational, they have to apply for the final large scale. The final large scale, like one of the requirements is to do like a final walkthrough with the engineering, county engineering, road department, and the applicant's engineer. We go over the plans and make sure everything met our conditions, and after that, it go to the planning board for approval. So we know at least for phase one, it met all the conditions. When they do phase two, we go back and do phase two separate, and we check on phase one. And we do the same thing for 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Yeah, each time you go there, like you go and do the walkthrough, we have to. That's part of our like requirements.
All right. So when you get ready to evaluate phase two, would you? And you've got complaints against.
Yeah, let's
the
say
way they're operating this.
Yep. Let's say this is approved.
Would that be considered?
Let's say like this is like ratified today. So they have to go and like section all of this into like the plan you're going to see. It's going to be for like one phase, and they're going to apply for that as a large scale, and that's the one that's going to be in depth, and that's like the one we're going to approve for just like phase one. This is like a conceptual plan. Everything in the CUP does not require like to have like 100% accurate plan. It's mostly a conceptual plan, but this is like close to the final product basically. But yeah, each phase will be like discussed and like reviewed, and it's going to be inspected separately before it becomes operational.
Okay. One other question. Sure. So you said 11 neighbors are notified. Those are immediate neighbors?
It's like the one, Dave, if you go on one up, please. One down. Move it, yeah. The other way. Yes, the one after that. The one after that. Down. Yes. No, that's up. Down.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, so we notified, like the neighbor notification went out like to all the neighbors.
So
like,
the immediate.
within 300.
Within 300
feet, yeah.
Okay.
The perimeter of that like parcel.
Yeah, so my question is, some developments require a broader footprint.
Everything in the county is like 300 unless if it's like a high intensity, like if you're doing a mining operation or industrial, that is like half a mile.
Yeah. So what's considered high intensity, just mining?
Mining and like anything that is high intensity, as I said, like mining or industrial.
Okay.
A factory, like something like that.
All right, so that's by, is that?
It's by ordinance.
Defined what high intensity is?
Yes.
Or is that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And as I said, like the engineer is here, and like there is a lawyer as well, like if you have any legal question for them.
Justice Dennis?
Thank you, Judge. My question on this time, how many letters of complaint or against did you receive from the neighbors?
It was in that presentation. It's not working now. If you go down, we had like 28 that they sent us like emails and phone calls. 7 of them showed up to the planning board meeting.
28 against?
28 against it, 7 showed up, 11 being notified.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And
Justice Bruns?
And that proves like also like we take like complaints from the citizens of the county. It's not just the neighbors.
Who's going to enforce this?
As usual, our enforcement go through like the sheriff's department. If there is any complaints about it.
The sheriff's office is going to enforce it. They do the road right. They do the construction right.
No, the construction is all done like through like the planning. We, as I said, like we go and like visit and make sure like they're building to specs. And before we finalize it, we do the walkthrough. Noise, anything else, like people like they're like doing something that's a nuisance, inappropriate, driving weird on the roads, that's separate.
Part.
Yeah.
But my my question is, you guys will have in planning on file, the completion of like a septic, whatever the health department says, or whatever,
If you ever,
conditions
guys,
you
if
put
you
on
ever
the
had
cup.
the chance to read any of our staff reports, that is exactly what the staff report is all about. It's all about like all this information. We spent 5 weeks working on like each project, minimum, and we normally have like about like 12 projects a month. So everything you just described, we have like information about it, and we create like a folder for each project that we have everything like broken down into weeks.
Mhm.
So we have everything about everything you need.
Okay.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
but-
And the staff report
But I looked at the
has
Eagle
everything.
Crest, and none of that stuff was there.
It's available online. I mean, like it's if you the link that says like everything is there. Like all the staff reports are available online.
Okay.
Mhm.
Justice Rivera Lopez.
Thank you, Judge. Director Atta, I have a question regarding, there are certain portions of this that are up for the property owner to enforce. How was that not what you said, like some, with a tenant being there over 90 days, that is something that is between a tenant and the property owner to enforce? How exactly do we check for that when we're doing a CUP review, if that is between the property owner and a tenant to?
We put a condition, and we've done this like for the past, like, what is it, 20 years since 2006? Yeah, we have too much faith on the applicant, like, part to do the right thing because it's his business. If he doesn't want, like, if he wants to run his business down because he doesn't care, his business is gonna, like, lose customers. And it's also, like, complaints we get from the neighbors. If they are not in compliant, and if they're, like, they notice that someone has been there like for more than like 90 days, they can always call us, and we can always like reach out to the applicant. We've done this before.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. I just wanted to know the
Absolutely,
nature
sir.
of
No
that.
worries, absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion for Dr. Atta or planning staff? Are there any other governmental agencies or utilities here to speak on this project? I want to give them the opportunity first. If not, we're ready to hear from the applicant and applicant's
Absolutely.
representatives.
Good evening. Will Kellstrom here on behalf of the applicant Expedient Civil Engineering. So this is a CUP request for a RV park. I want to highlight here that the planning board approved this 4-1. The main reason, if you go watch the video, the main reason that they approved this is because this CUP application is not for approving a development. It is for approving a use. The applicant still has to come back for a large-scale development where they have to comply with all of your development regulations. They're going to have to prove that they have a proper septic system that meets state code. They're going to have to prove that they have actually planned to complete all of these improvements that are going to make the development work. They have to actually complete those and provide evidence to the planning department. So this is, you're not approving a done deal, you're approving a use. And the applicant still has to go make all this work. If they can't follow your regulations, they can't build it. If they can't make it safe, if they can't get water to it, if they can't make the septic work, they can't build it. That's what the regulations are for. The other thing that I want to highlight is that there is about 4 pages worth of conditions on this project. And I want to make it clear, because it's been talked about tonight, those are conditions on this use. If those are violated and they're reported to the county, you guys have the ability to yank that conditional use and to no longer continue it. That's why those conditions are there. The conditions are things like providing screening, providing extra screening if the planning department decides it's necessary, obtaining and maintaining state approval, conditions against excessive noise, conditions against hours of operation, exiting and entering the property. Again, if you receive numerous, another condition being the length of stay requirement being 90 days, and I do want to clarify that they cannot stay for 90, walk out the door, and come back in and stay another 90. They have to leave for 14 days. So that's a legitimate condition that is intended to prevent permanent occupancy there, and I think it's well drafted. But in getting back to where I was going, if they break these conditions, if the neighbors are reporting people that are staying for months and months at a time and not abiding by this 90-day requirement, they can lose their conditional use permit. That is what is going to cause the property owner to enforce and keep up with all these conditions, because they're going to want to continue operating their business. So as a final note, I do have responses to some of the public comments that have been made. I can offer those now, or I can wait for the additional public comment and come back up and address them then. That is up to y'all.
Let's go now.
Okay. There was a comment earlier about this RV park falling below standards, below county standards. We're not to large-scale development yet. I mentioned that earlier. There's been several comments about road infrastructure. This is a paved road as it sits on our property. Natural Walk Road is paved as it runs up to our property. I would also note that fire and safety are given an opportunity to comment on these applications, and they did not provide comment on this one. There's been a lot of comments about water pressure. I will tell y'all all now that we are not hooking into public water. We plan to drill a well. Jason Ingalls is the engineer on the project. He would be happy to answer any questions about that. We've investigated the feasibility of drilling a well, and we feel pretty confident that we can do that and have enough capacity to serve this development. So water pressure is kind of out of the equation here. RVs disrupting traffic and not fitting on these roads. We have to have a 36-foot drive so that RVs have enough room to pull into the property. All of the vehicles staying here are not going to be RVs. Some of them are going to be campers. They're not all going to be 40-foot. I don't know how long RVs are, but they're not all going to be massive RVs. There's going to be a mix of different vehicles. As far as vehicles traveling too fast on that curve, I mean, we can't stop people from speeding. If people are going to speed on that road, that's their own choice. I will also note that to the extent that anyone is concerned about the appearance and maintenance and upkeep of this property and keeping it clean, the landowners are going to live on the property, so they're going to live there themselves. They're going to want it to be nice and tidy and cleaned up. That's all I've got for y'all. Again, Jason Ingalls is the engineer on the project. He's going to be a lot smarter when it comes to septic and water than I am, so if you guys have questions, I would encourage you to ask him. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for the applicant from the body? Oh, Justice Bruns.
Yeah, only one thing is the best I remember, that road is chip and seal, correct?
I believe that's
Isn't
correct.
that one of your chip and seal roads?
I believe so.
Yeah, and it's 20-foot wide?
That's what staff said. I have it.
How wide's an RV?
Justice Bruns, I'm not an RV expert. Maybe we should have the representatives of the project up here if you have questions for it. I don't know why you're asking me about it.
Well, you're the only one up here, so.
Jason Ingalls with Expedient Civil Engineering. I've actually measured the road. It's 20 feet wide. A quarter of a mile away with the intersection of the other road. I don't know if you can, the major road that intersects with, it's 24 feet wide. So we're only a quarter of a mile away from a roadway that's 24 feet wide, which is more than the 20. So you exit off the 24-foot wide road, go a quarter of a mile, and you're turning into the RV park with a 36-foot wide drive.
Oh, your drive is going to be 36 feet wide?
Correct, so that we've got room, plenty of room to get those vehicles out. Okay. Also like to say too, most of the residents that have gone up here and spoken, they're after, and I could be speaking out of turn, but I believe that most of those residents are after this RV park. So as these vehicles come in, they'll turn into our RV park, and most of those residents, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe are past our point of intersection coming and turning into the RV park. And if I can touch on the well too, we did reach out to a well driller. They recently completed one a year ago for another RV park on the south side of US 412. They told me that it would be considered a semi-public well, so it had to be excavated quite deep because of that, to not affect the residential wells that are in the area, and that they had plenty of capacity where they drilled that well, and they believe that we would have the same capacity there to drill a well. So,
Justice Massengill?
Yeah. Could you describe the normal traffic pattern getting to and from the RV park?
I've been to the site, I've driven it, so I believe as you pass on US 412, the double bridges across the White River, I believe it's the second or third paved road to the left. They call it the Knob Hill Community. You turn left there, go maybe a couple miles, and the road splits at Wise. You stay to the left, you go an additional mile, and then you'll hit the intersection with Natural Walk Road, which is only a quarter mile to that new RV park.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff or the representatives?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We're now going to open up this for more public comments. I want to highlight that you can also speak in support or opposition of this. This will be limited, again, to 3 minutes per person, and the entirety will be limited to 30 minutes. And so with that, we'll welcome the public comments. Yes, sir.
Well, this is my neighborhood, so I know it quite well. Charles McKinney, 19957 Lakeview Road. Here you have a rural community that values their quiet and their rural views. Now, these people are not affluent. The view from their back porch is really all they have. This RV park, you can picture it. It's got an 8-foot fence. It's got a bunch of trailers sticking up above it, floodlights, motor sounds. What they had before was a place where the deer would run. Now, our single-family agriculture zoning entitles them to protection from commercial development. These people's, this protection of their enjoyment of their property is a priority responsibility of the CUP. The purpose of the CUP is to protect adjacent property owners from the ill effects of these commercial developments. That is a primary responsibility. I would say that it's one of our highest responsibilities. And when people are limited means, I think that we should give the highest possible regard for their enjoyment of their property. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments.
Amber Henderson, I am literally right next to this. My mother-in-law also has this property right next to us. There are several things I want to address right now. I want to start with what I think it was you guys that asked about the 7 people that were able to mention. I'm sorry.
Ma'am, you need to pull that microphone closer to your mouth. We have a hard time hearing up here. The acoustics are horrible, so the closer you are, the louder it is for us. Thank you, ma'am.
So I want to mention Dr. Atta was asked about how many people had opposed this, my personal neighbors. Unfortunately, we have a very impoverished neighborhood out there, and all of these are hardworking people. They cannot make this. That's why I'm here. I am here to talk for them. What Dr. Atta didn't mention is that when I did this appeal for the CUP, I brought 100 of my close neighbors that are directly affected by this, signed a petition. I'm not sure if you guys got a copy of that, but that was there. So I did want to mention it. It wasn't just 7 people. It was my personal neighbors. Sheriff says enforcers. I brought this up at the first CUP meeting. I was held at knife point on my mother-in-law's property right next to me. 2 hours it took the sheriffs to get there. We live very, very far out. The road is chip, but what also isn't being mentioned is the grade that these people are going to be bringing these RVs and campers in. This is a very steep grade. So what if one of these camper people don't know how to drive their new RV or camper? They're going to die or they're going to kill somebody. I urge all of you to come out there before, if you want to wait to vote on it till next month, whatever, 2 weeks, I don't care. Come out there and look. Also, the difference between our RV park that they're wanting to put in and the other ones in our neighbor, I think there's 3 out there. These 3 are on the interstate. The one that they're trying to put out there is in a residential area. We're a tiny little area with tiny little roads and no water pressure, and I understand they're wanting to put a well in. This directly affects me as well because I have animals. I have farm animals. So whatever they're doing for the next 18 months to 4 years, if they decide to put 41 in there, that directly affects my food. Because my birds are not going to lay when there's literally right behind them. The last thing I want to address is the degradation of our land that's out there. We have lost so much from the rain just this year. Sorry. Yes.
That's time expired.
Thank
Public
you.
comments?
Hello, I am Zachary Pugh, once again, 19785 Natural Walk Road. I would like to say, frankly, I am appalled by the answers that were given to you all. As stated, we've had multiple troubles with law enforcement not responding quickly enough. Also, to answer your question earlier from a cursory Google search, the average RP is about 8 feet wide. That is the average. It could be bigger, it could be smaller. But that is a case-to-case basis. Even on roads that have 4 feet of total clearance between 2 RVs passing, you're not accounting for the central line. You're not accounting for the road degradation on either side. There are spots in there that are significantly less than 20 feet. Not to mention there are steep turns that will angle whatever vehicle you're in considerably. I would also like to note that, it is a large safety concern. I, in much smaller vehicles, have almost been run off the road. And frankly, I think the devil may care if someone's speeding or not approach is dangerous. There is a regular habit of people speeding through there. I've witnessed countless drunk drivers, whatever. It is not a safe road to drive. And I think until those safety issues are addressed on a, I guess, more systematic level, then there's no place for that, because all that's going to do is delay hardworking people like myself who try to get out and do good things in the world from going and doing those things and earning my keep. I also think, again, it's a hazard, and I'm genuinely disappointed in the answers you all have been given in terms of these complaints. I really don't have anything else to say, so I rest my time.
Thanks, sir. Public comments?
Hello again. My name is Mary McKinney. I live at 19980 Lakeview Road. I lived in the Warrigal Cove area for 35 plus years. There's been no change in this road that they're talking about accessing this RV park. It's in ill repair. It's not marked. There are no reflectors. The grass is about this tall right now. It has several blind corners. It will be total, again, disregard for public safety if you approve this cup. To back up for a question that was asked by a JP, good luck with the enforcement. You can call, and you might get a return call. I never did. There is zero enforcement on these ordinances. My house perished of fire in 2015. I've already talked to you tonight about the ISO rating. Nob Hill Fire Department is now an 8, 10 being the worst. This is, again, willful neglect if you approve this CUP. There will be incidences of fire. These people that spoke to you tonight, what they didn't tell you, their house perished on Christmas Eve 2 years ago. Nob Hill Fire Department has the best of intention, but they don't have adequate water supply, they're not staffed well, and their training is declining significantly. I urge you to not approve this CUP. Drive the roads. My JP has driven them. Others have said they have. You all need to come see this area before you take action on this. Thank you.
Public comments.
My name is Claudia Henderson. I live at 19719 Natural Walk Road. The people that are wanting to put in the RV park are coming in close to my land and trying in too close. And they've tore down some of my fencing that was up, and I'm not happy with that. And the roads are very bad, and we do have to also consider us as county residents. They have raised our fire dues to $125 per household. How does that work when you have 41 units of RV campers? Is they gonna have to pay $125 a year for volunteer fire dues? And like she said, we don't get response out there. We don't have a big fire department. My son's house did burn in Christmas of 2022, and there was 5 fire departments that had to come and try and keep it down from catching on my home on the other side and someone on the other side of them. You need to drive these roads like they say. It is not safe. We have children that have to walk these curves from a bus stop, and you don't know what's coming around them corners, and it's not safe. So I do say that I would like you to wait on voting on this.
Thank you. Public comments.
I'm gonna agree with all of them, because my kids have to get off the bus. The bus used to stop in front of my house and let them off. It can't even get down that road. So how are you gonna get an RV down that road? They have to get off, walk around a steep corner where it divides off. It's not right. So, and I'm at 19835. Or 19831. So the kids shouldn't have to get off the school bus and walk around a big old corner to get to their house where they can be hit or ran over. There's been so many wrecks out there, it's not even funny. So, I don't know.
Thank you.
This is not gonna work.
Public comments.
My name's Lou Reed Sharp. I live at 1739 Steel Road in Tawnytown, Arkansas. I just want to say that we just listened to all the stuff on Eagle Crest where they're not meeting the CUP standards, and I hope all the JPs will look at this, because once it goes through, there is no enforcement. So I think it really, I mean, you're going to enforce one and not the other? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I live in Tawnytown. We have zoning issues out there. People were grandfathered in. But let me tell you, when they don't meet the code, you know, somebody has to enforce it. Now, if the property sells, then the use changes. But there's no enforcement. So I don't understand how if these people get approved, then there is no enforcement to make sure they're following all the rules, just like Eagle Crest isn't. So it just doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments.
Good afternoon. Kenneth Lovett, 18702 Clearwater Road. What I've heard tonight from the gentleman presenting it, he said that the police, sheriffs would take care of the protection and the zoning, and then he also said the neighbors would be the ones reporting it. So once it passes through you, you have no other choices. It goes to the planning meeting, and it's decided by them. But citizens shouldn't have to police the neighborhood. That's the way everything's left to do. That's the reason why waste management is out there. But it's ridiculous. And, Totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I know what it is. How do we address this? It's not my job. Whose job is it if it's not their job? Where does that come from? Can we address that tonight? Whose job is it? Thank y'all.
Thank you. I'll bring the discussion back to the Quorum Court. We'll move on to item number 11, appeal hearing discussion by the Quorum Court for the Genesis RV Park. Is there any further discussion by the body? Justice Pond? Might have to move that mic down, sir.
The 20-foot wide road it concerns me a little when we're talking about the number of campers.
This is a discussion. I don't believe we need a motion on the floor yet. Justice Pond,
We're talking about the campers, so many pulling in and out of their campers, boats, that sort of thing. 20-foot curvy chip and seal road, and something was brought up about the width of campers, RVs. In the state of Arkansas, the legal width of anything that you drive or pull up and down the road is 8 feet 6 inches. That's maximum that I know of. I don't think they've ever increased that, and I understand they look a lot bigger and boxier than that when you see them coming. Then when you meet one on a curve, we kind of use up the 20 feet and need a foot or two more. It is, I'm just saying it's a concern. I've not said I intend to vote one way or the other. I've got to weigh this a long time. We have a lot of roads in the county that need improvement and not enough revenue stream to keep up with what we already need. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Pond. Further discussion by the group? Justice Ecke?
Thank you, Judge. I'm just weighing out all the information that we've heard, and some of this is, I believe, other people's responsibilities. If the bus stop is so dangerous for our children, then why hasn't a request been made to the Springdale Independent School District to say, we need to change this bus stop? If they have to walk around a dangerous curve, that to me is a responsibility of the school district to ensure that our children are safe the moment they get on the bus, off the bus, to their house, and from their house, because they're providing that. We need to engage the superintendent on this. I think we need to. That's alarming for me to think that Springdale is dropping off our children and making them walk around a very dangerous, precarious curb that can cause problems. That's number one. Judge, number two, now, who's going to watch out for all of this? And I'm so sorry that lady was held at knife point for 2 hours before the sheriff's office responded. I mean, that's very alarming for me to hear something like that. 2 hours, that's life-threatening. Something needs to be done about that. But I also know that in my neighborhood and in other neighborhoods, there's what groups call the neighborhood watch groups. And they even have apps, neighborhood apps, watching out for one another, sharing information, hey, did you see this person, did you this and this? And it's a community grapevine, so to speak. Neighbors taking care of neighbors. I think that's a good thing. So to say that we don't need, who's going to watch out for us? Well, I think watching out for neighbor is the best thing we can do. And then it was also brought to our attention about how dangerous these roads are to even travel. Which brings up this question in my mind, why hasn't this been reported before? And I'm sure if it was on the list of our roads department, they're so good about doing this. We have an excellent roads department. Then report this and say, we need this road to be taken care of because it's dangerous. And if you've lived out there 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, why hasn't this road been addressed? But that, to me, are issues outside of what this CUP applicant is asking to do. These are issues that should have been taken care of before by the citizens that live out there, the residents and the property owners. And I encourage you to call the Springdale school system and say, hey, you come out here and you look. Call the roads department. Because who is the vested interest? The property owners, our citizens. Call these departments. Form a citizens watch group. They've got apps now. It's easy to do that. But this is very alarming for me to hear being held at knife point for 2 hours. Dangerous roads, our children are in danger. That's alarming for me. And that's all I have to say, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Justice Massengill?
Yeah, I just had a question. What is the difference between 10, 11, and 12? I'm kind of curious about the...
It's just the way we move through the process. So you guys are deciding right now, you're discussing amongst yourselves. So what item number 11 represents is we're closed to staff and public comments. This is for you guys to decide. When we move to item number 12, you need to decide whether or not you want to move forward with an ordinance of approval or appeal. Parliamentarian always can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, so when we vote, we're actually at item 12?
Yes, sir.
Deciding whether to approve or
yes, sir.
not approve the CUP.
We're just trying to give everybody enough time to discuss it before we move forward with an item. You can understand that sometimes when we move forward with an item, it can preclude the discussion due to the Roberts rules. And so we want to make sure you have enough time to ask questions or discuss amongst yourselves before moving to item number 12, if that makes sense, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that.
No problem. Justice Lyons?
Thank you, thank you, Judge. I have been out on this road and I have driven it. I have also went to the roads department and pulled the maintenance request records for this road. There are none. There are no complaints made against this road based on the records I got from the roads department. So again, with my colleague, if the road is that bad, and when I drove it, I did not see potholes. I did not see where potholes had been filled or any of those things. As you get further down the road, almost to the lake, it gets narrow. There are curves down there. A lot of the concerns I've heard tonight from the citizens, I don't agree with. I think a lot of the things that are being said are out of context of what the entire situation is for what's being discussed, taken out of context what our good Washington County staff does for us and provides. And that I'm concerned about because we have great Washington County staff that work for us very hard to keep this county where it needs to be and to protect the citizens. However, the concern I have is more of a safety concern. And it's the safety of an area that is so deep into a residential area, unlike the other RV parks that are right off of 412, that has traffic going back and forth, traffic of people that don't live there, they don't live in the state, they don't live in the city, etc. This is, you're sinking right into the middle of a residential area, an area to bring people in that they don't live there, they may live in the state, they may not live in the state, and there is no real reason. There's no lakefront property or beach to go to. There's no public trails that go work on there. They're just, it's a place to go park and live for a while. You don't know who's there. You don't know who's coming in and out. When you've lived in an area, you buy a house, you know who your neighbors are. You know what's going on. To me, that creates a safety issue for the community. By bringing in 41, ultimately, vehicles with multiple people. I mean, they can be anywhere from 1 to, who knows, 5, 6, depending on the RV and whether they bring tents or whatever. You just don't know who's there. You don't know who's coming in and out, who's living next door for 90 days, et cetera. And that's my concern with putting this in that area, is that safety. I believe that when you look at the items that we consider when considering a conditional use, and let's remember, our role, the Quorum Court's role in this, in considering the conditional use, is zoning, period. Should that area be zoned to such a way to allow this to occur? We don't, and the county does not have the authority to rule on health code. That's the health department. Fire code, that's the fire department. So that doesn't come under our, I mean, yeah, there's conditions in there that talks about, most of the time it talks about you must adhere to the Arkansas Fire Code. You must adhere to the health department code. The health department has to certify your septic, et cetera. So this is purely, should we rezone that to allow this use for that property is our decision. And one of the areas that we should be deciding on is whether the operation of this conditional use would be detrimental or endanger public safety. And I think what I've described, the answer is yes, it will. Thank you, Judge.
Justice Burns?
Thank you, sir. I'm not trying to defend anybody, but our subdivision had a problem with the way buses picked up kids about 3 years ago in Springdale. And we found out that the real problem was a major shortage of bus drivers. So they had to condense bus routes. And so I think that's probably what you're going to see facing it. Even if you call the superintendent, you know, unless all of y'all decide to go drive a bus, you're probably not going to be able to help them at all. So that's, I mean, I'm not trying to defend the school system, but I'm just saying that's where the big problem is.
Justice Coger?
Yes, thank you very much. First, what J.P. Lyons said a lot of what I was going to bring up about public safety. So we have criteria that we look at when we decide whether or not we're going to, or when we consider conditional use permits, and public safety is one of those items that we can consider. Also, that the conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the surrounding area, and also that the establishment will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding area. And there was one more that I think it was up at the top. Oh, that the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding area. This proposed use is not compatible with the surrounding area. And part of the ordinance that we base that these criteria come from is that compatibility with surrounding property shall be ensured to the maximum extent practicable. I don't see how we can do that regardless of what restrictions we put forward or conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, I would like to move to item number 12. This will be the Quorum Court action on the Genesis RV Park. Justice Lyons.
So the appropriate is we either consider the appeal or consider the ratification, is that
Consider
correct?
the denial or consider the ratification. Yes, sir.
But we sure on the first reading.
Yes, sir. So
really to do that, we need to get to the third reading. Correct?
to
get to voting on the appeal or the ratification.
Well,
We gotta
I'll
get to
let,
third reading.
yes, I'll let Counselor Lester
That's fine. I just
go over
try to
this
make-
next process, because this has always confused me, how we get your will of which way you would like to move forward, you know, I mean, all that, so I'll let him
And that's
cover
what
it.
I'm trying to understand is
Sure.
what is the appropriate
And I don't want to
process.
muddy that water
I've
anymore.
already forgotten enough stuff tonight.
Sure,
so
yes,
see
sir.
if we
I
can do
understand.
better.
We'll get Counselor on it. Counselor Lester?
Certainly. So the question was asked about this process, and to expand upon why we have the process the way we do, it's because your ordinance states that when an appeal is made, that you would sit and hear this in the same capacity that the planning board did. And so when the planning board heard this, the staff got up and presented, the applicant got up and presented, and then anyone that had any comments about it get up and state those comments. After that's over, the planning board can talk and discuss it amongst themselves before someone makes a motion to approve or deny, recommend approval or denial of the project, because in a conditional use situation, as you know, you have to make the final decision on that, because ultimately what you're doing is you're making a zoning decision, and there's been some questions about the large-scale development and why that doesn't come back to the board, because those are administrative acts. The legislative act is the zoning, and so that's what you're considering tonight ultimately is the allowance of this non-conforming use in an area that's zoned single-family residential agricultural. So when we do that, we set this, we try to have always tried to, the county has always heard them in this manner, where we hear in the same order and same capacity the planning board did. You have an opportunity to comment without being limited to 2 times when you speak. And because we have to get to the issue. At this point, you know, it's open for someone to make a motion one way or the other. In the past, we've had both motions. Somebody's moved to consider one, somebody's moved to consider the other. We've read both of them once. And if no one suspends the rules, then it moves on to a second reading, and then finally a third reading, and then there's that final discussion and that final public comment time, because it also has to comply with state law as it relates to the ordinance, because you're passing an ordinance.
Thank you.
So that's where we are on this.
Okay, appreciate that.
So the process would be Justice Lyons to make a motion.
So,
one way or the
yeah,
other,
I
and then
move we
vote.
consider the appeal of the cup.
The appeal. You keep saying the appeal. I think. Denial.
Okay, the denial.
So you motion for the denial.
Yes.
Counselor, will you read that item by title only? This will be on the first reading.
An ordinance denying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the Planning Board of Adjustments.
Now we need a motion to suspend the rules and move it to the second reading to be able to get through and get to a vote for that.
That's correct. Now debate is stopped. We have had one reading. The next only appropriate motion would be to suspend the rules and have a second reading.
I move.
Justice Lyons, suspend the rules and move it to the second reading. We have a second by Justice Coger. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Counselor, will you read that for a second time? I'm sorry.
An ordinance denying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the Planning Board of Adjustments.
Justice Lyons?
I move we suspend the rules and move it to the third and final reading.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and move item number 12 to the third and final reading by Justice Lyons. Second by Justice Rivera Lopez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? No. Counselor, will you read it for a third and final time?
An ordinance denying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the Planning Board of Adjustments.
Justice Lyons.
Okay, I think the right terminology is I move that we approve the denial.
I'll take it. We have a motion by Justice Lyons to move approval of the denial. Do I have a second? Second by Justice Coger. Is there any further discussion by the body? Justice Lyons, or I'm sorry, Justice Ecke?
Thank you, Judge. I am in favor of approving this CUP based on what the Planning Board recommended and the Planning Department. These are professional experts. They have looked at everything. And if you have 4-1 on the Planning Board who voted in favor of this project, and we are not the professionals who looked at all of this, I think we need to go with what they are recommending and advising us to pass, along with our planning department. So I'm against the denial of the CUP based on the confidence that I have in our planning department and our planning board. Thank you, sir.
Justice Lyons?
Thank you, Judge. I'm normally in compliance with that point, and I am normally a proponent of an owner being able to do with their property what they want to do, but that is a right. There's also, every citizen has the rights, the pursuit of happiness, safety, etc. When these rights come, then somebody has to make a decision, right? And I tend to lean to go with the planning board, but I believe this type of use in that area adversely affects the safety in that area simply because of the amount of people you're bringing into the area that you don't know who they are, you don't know their background, and you don't know what's going on. And that is why I have decided to support the denial of this ratification of this code. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Justice Lyons. Any further discussion? Anybody? Justice Wilson?
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate the discussion that's taking place this evening. And I appreciate the point that J.P. Lyons has made about the safety of the matter and so on. But I wanted to comment, it applies to this issue, but it also is something I've said in this room before because it comes up so often. Usually with a conditional use permit, there is frequently, and you all know this to be true, there are frequently instances that come up, people will mention the safety of the road or the lack of safety of the road for whatever proposal is under consideration at the time. I do believe that sometimes maybe we have legitimate complaints along those lines, sometimes maybe not. But I do know that there are a lot of, it's almost impossible for the road department to keep up with everything. We all understand that. And I just want to mention this going forward. Again, my colleague said something about when he checked at the road department, there were no official requests about the condition of this particular road. And I think that's a very good point. But when we go over a CUP and then we have a lot of people mentioning the road is not sufficient for what is being proposed here, I think that gives us an obligation of sorts to, or the road department, it gives them an obligation. You know, we do need to check things out there at the very least to consider some areas of concern, especially if we do approve of a CUP. Because if we approve of a particular conditional use permit, we are, in a sense, overriding some of the concerns that have been voiced. And I think the least we could do is, I'm saying for the future, is at the very least to do our due diligence. And the road department doesn't need me to tell them how to do their job. I'm not saying that. But that is an opportunity to consider what constituents say. If they're saying the road is not adequate, it wouldn't hurt to give it an extra special examination at that point. Now, I'm not calling for that tonight, but I am saying that every time this comes up, we have an opportunity to do a better job when it comes to road concerns. So, like I said, that doesn't apply directly to how the vote's going to go this evening, but it applies to almost every CUP that we discuss in this room. So, thank you.
Further discussion? Public comments on item number 12. Any final public comments before we take this to the vote? I would like to ask if we've already commented. I mean, you can please come, but I mean, we've heard some of the same things. Please, you're welcome. Let's come. Yes, please come. You have to get to the microphone. Please hit that button on the bottom right. Man, we're all yelling at you. I'm sorry about that.
Fine.
There you go, ma'am.
I just wanted to address Mr. Lyons. Thank you for saying what you did. But specifically, I don't know where those complaints have gone, but we do have a group that our neighbors are together and we talk. We have a whole Nob Hill group. That's how I know what to tell you guys when I come in here. But we all went to road concerns and filled it out on Washington County. So I don't know where those went. My mother-in-law calls weekly. I know this for a fact because during our fire, I was there when she called weekly. So I don't know where those records are going, but I promise you guys, we are calling. And whatever this is, the website. So
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you guys.
We'll take up the item now. This is on a motion to deny the Genesis RV Park. Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll? A yes vote will deny the CUP. A yes vote will deny the CUP. Mr. Allen?
Justice Ricker? Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes. Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Ecke? No. Justice Dean? Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Koger? Yes. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes.
That item is adopted. Item number 13. Counselor, you read that by title only? Oh, I'm sorry.
Item 13 is an ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the Planning Board for the Woolsey Wood project.
Justice Ricker?
We get Dr. Atta to give us a quick rundown on that project, please.
Dr. Atta, will you give a staff summary here, please, sir?
So the Woolsey Wood, it's like an area close to like West Fork. The applicant is requesting like to build like a shop and multiple like locations to do like woodworking and wood logging like business. He is like utilizing the existing chicken house like pads, and he's going to renovate all of that to make them like usable for like his business. He is also like in the process right now to split that property that is like almost 32 acres to like 6.7, and he's going to be utilizing only 4.7 acres for the project. It's going to be designed to go through like 3 phases, and if this project is being approved, like the CUP is going to be approving the 3 phases again, and each one of them is going to go through the large-scale process separately. He is intending to do like one of them for now, and then like wait like few years and see if this is going to pick up, and then like he's going to come back again. We've never had any issue. We had only like we notified like 10 neighbors. We received 1 comment and from one of the adjacent neighbors, and he came to the planning board, and I guess like he is in contact with Mr. Pilgrim to like figure out like what's the concerns are and like how can they mediate it. And we received like 1 other complaint from like and another adjacent neighbor like the day after the planning board like approved that project. And I'm not sure like if they are like aware that we had like the planning the hearing today, but the concerns from the first neighbor was like the noise and the dust and like the not contaminating this business, not contaminating the pond that is like next to his next to this property. And the other complaint we received from the other neighbor was about like trucks and like slinging mud, and it might be noisy as well. The applicant is here, like he will like be well versed about like how the logging business work. Once again, when we do like technical review, we send like lots as the planning team because like we do our job diligently. So we notify the utilities and other like stakeholders as well, and we get like reports back from them, and that's what we add to the staff report. This is only like the 8 pages of the conditions. The staff report is about 200 pages, and it's like all written, so like we work hard. So we have utility conditions, 4 conditions for this project. Ozark Electric, 5 conditions. Washington Water Authority, they provided 5 conditions with conditions in between. The fire safety, I believe we have 10 conditions. The road conditions are 5. Screening conditions and safety and all of that is 5 conditions. Sheriff's Department, we have 1 of them. If they have any concern, reach out. The school district, we did not hear anything from them. The drainage and the engineering, they have 6 conditions, and the planning conditions are 11 conditions. And then we have the standard 8 condition we put on all the projects. So applicant is here to answer any technical questions. If you have any question for me, please let me know.
That item's on first reading. Justice Rickers. Yeah, if you can.
Make a motion, we move this to first reading.
Second.
Second.
Make a motion to suspend the rules, move it to the second reading by Justice Ricker.
We have to read it first time, right?
We read it.
We read it? Make the motion to suspend the rules.
Second reading. Do I have a second? Second by Justice Lyons. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Counselor, will you read that for a second time?
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the Woolsey Wood project.
Justice Ricker?
Make a motion to suspend the rules, move it to third reading.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and move it to a third and final reading by Justice Ricker and a second by Justice Lyons. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Counselor, will you read that for a third and final time?
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the Woolsey Wood project.
Justice Ricker?
Motion to pass.
I have a motion to pass item number 13 by Justice Ricker, second by Justice Lyons. Any further discussion by the body? Any public comments on item number 13?
Hi, Sherry Main, 15451 Riches Road, Fayetteville. And I've been reading up on the ordinances and the amendments to the ordinances regarding a lot of different things, but one is agricultural that I've been reading a lot on. And in agricultural, there was an amendment to the original ordinances that state timber. I'm not for sure, I didn't read the whole 200 pages on this cup, but is this a timber operation where they're going in and cutting down the timber and setting up a sawmill, or what type of, is it a commercial type, or just clear cutting all the trees? Because that makes a difference, whether it's agricultural and it don't need a permit, or whether it's commercial and it does need a permit. Just saying.
Man, the key to this is to read that staff report. You guys figured that out yet? Further public comments? Seeing none, Mr. Allen, will you please call roll? This is on the motion to pass item number 13.
Justice Ricker? Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes. Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Dean? Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Coger? Yes. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Rio Stafford? Yes.
Item number 13 is adopted. Item number 14, Counselor, will you read that by title only?
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the AKH Property LLC project.
This item is on first reading.
Good evening, everyone.
Nope, the item's on
Not
first
yet?
reading.
Okay.
If it's going to stay there, we'll leave it there. You can. You can. Is that what you? A motion by Justice Dennis to suspend the rules and move it to a second reading. Second by Justice Dean. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? All right. Counsel, will you read that for a second time?
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the AKH Property LLC project.
Third and final reading. I have a motion to suspend the rules and move it to a third and final reading by Justice Dennis. I heard second by Justice Dean. Counsel, read this for a third and final time.
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the Planning Board for the AKH Property LLC project.
Dr. Addo, will you please give us a summary of this project?
Gladly. Yeah, this project was approved like on July 10th. The 4 members attending the meeting approved it unanimously. So basically, this project came to us as the applicant, Mr. Dale Hill, like requested like a new address to build like a new tiny office on the front of that property. And he was unaware like of any conditional use or any like permitting. So we told him like, you are like out of compliance. So the next day he showed up to the office and he filled an application. And he paid us like all the fees and he said like, whatever I need to do. So he honestly, like he's one of those like, and the previous project was like one of those like model like project that we had no issues with the applicant or like even the neighbors. So he applied, and basically this business has been there like since as a dairy farm since 1991, which is funny. He told me like he worked there like when he was a kid. So he remodeled everything, and he is using the existing business, but now since he needed like a new office with a parking lot attached to it, he had to apply for that conditional use permit for the entire like property. So this will encompass about like 4 buildings, including the new one. The establishment is going to host up to 40 employees with parking. And he had also like to make an agreement with the adjacent neighbor to be able like to have an access utility easement to the septic, because it's split in between, and that was requested by the health department, and he did that without any issue. And we never had any outstanding conditions that made that like not passable. So once again, he was like a model applicant, and he's available here like to answer any question.
Thank you, sir. Third and final reading. Move to approve. I have a motion to approve by Justice Dennis, second by Justice Dean. Any further discussion amongst the group? Any public comments on item number 14? Seeing none, we'll take up the question. I have a motion to pass item number 14 by Justice Dennis, a second by Justice Dean. Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Justice Ricker? Yes. Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Yes. Justice Wilson? Could you repeat that? Yes. Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes. Yes. Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Dean? Yes. Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Yes. Justice Coger? Yes. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes.
Item number 14 is adopted. Item number 15. Counselor, will you read that by title only?
Item 15 is an ordinance establishing a policy for the early release of inmates based on meritorious good time and or for labor provided to public entities.
Justice Lyons?
It's first reading, right?
Yes.
Yeah, then move we suspend the rules and move it to a second reading.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and move to a second reading by Justice Lyons. I saw Justice Dean first. Counselor, will you read? I'm sorry. Motion to suspend the rules and put it on second reading by Justice Lyons, second by Justice Dean. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Counselor, will you read that for a second time?
An ordinance establishing a policy for the early release of inmates based on meritorious good time and or for labor provided to public entities.
Justice Lyons?
I move we suspend the rules and move it to a third and final reading.
Motion to suspend the rules and move it to a third and final reading by Justice Lyons, second by Justice Dean. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Counselor, will you read that for a third and final time?
An ordinance establishing a policy for the early release of inmates based on meritorious good time and or for labor provided to public entities.
Justice Lyons?
I move that we pass item 15.
Motion to pass item number 15 by Justice Lyons, a second by Justice Dean. Are there any comments or discussion among the group? Public comments on item number 15.
Evening, Judge. Mac Mayfield, 980 Rocky Lane. I spend my Tuesdays over at the Squire Jehagan Pantry at Rock and Willow, and the sheriff brings a group of folks over who are well-behaved enthusiastic and a pleasure to be with. So I hope that this will count for that.
Thanks, sir.
you.
Any further comments? Seeing none, this is a motion to pass item number 15. Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Justice Ricker? Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes. Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Dean? Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Coger? Yes. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Rio Stafford? Yes.
Item number 15 is adopted. Item number 16 is our consent agenda, with a reminder that 16.6 was removed from the consent agenda by Justice Coger, so we'll be reading items 16.1 through 16.5. Councilor Esther, will you please read the consent agenda?
Item 16.1 is an ordinance amending the assessor's budget for 2025 to provide for the professional development recognition payments. Item 16.2 is an ordinance recognizing revenue in the amount of $15,490.78 in the Court Security Grant Fund and appropriating $15,490.78 from the Court Security Grant Fund to various line items in the Court Security Grant Fund budget for 2025. Item 16.3 is an ordinance amending the AOC Juvenile Court Division III Grant Fund for 2025 and for other matters pertaining thereto. Item 16.4 is an ordinance amending the prosecuting attorney's budget for 2025 and for other matters pertaining thereto. Item 16.5 is an ordinance anticipating additional revenue in the amount of $149,900 in the Wheeler Road Bridge Grant Fund and appropriating the amount of $149,900 to the Wheeler Road Bridge Grant Fund budget for 2025.
Justice Lyons?
I move that we pass the consent agenda.
Motion to pass the consent agenda. I believe I heard second by Justice Ricker. Okay. Any further comment by the body? Public comments on the consent agenda. We have a motion to pass the consent agenda by Justice Lyons, second by Justice Ricker. Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Justice Ricker? Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes. Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Dean? Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Coger? Yes. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Rio Stafford? Yes.
The consent agenda is adopted. Item 16.6. Counselor, will you read that by title only?
Item 16.6 is an ordinance amending the county attorney budget for 2025 and for other matters pertaining thereto.
Justice Ecke? I'm sorry. Justice Coger. It was the next one up. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I misspoke, Justice Ecke. Justice Coger?
Thank you. The reason I pulled it off the consent agenda is I wasn't here last week, so I couldn't bring this up then. But I see that the new employee who will be part-time, he's graded at grade 19. That's the same grade as law clerks for Judge Bryan and for Judge Taylor. Is it customary that we have a part-time employee who's graded at the same level as full-time employees?
The grades are not dependent upon full or part-time. They're just dependent upon your role. So that gives us the hourly wage, whether it's part or full-time.
Okay. The other thing that I'd like to point out is that when we talk about our Washington County budget, the county attorney budget just for salaries for this year is $331,000. To date, Washington County has spent $165,000 just for salaries for the county attorney. Benton County budgeted $150,000 for 2025, and to date they spent $40,000. I want to bring that up as we consider whether or not we're increasing the county attorney's budget.
Justice Stuckey?
Yes, thank you, Judge. I'd like to point out that Benton County does not retain a full-time county attorney. They outsource all of their legal work, and that's why their budget is so small. Just to answer to that point.
Any further discussion? Justice Coger?
Yes, thank you, Judge. I just say that apparently Benton County is saving money by doing that.
Any further discussion? Justice Ecke?
Yes, I do believe with the way our county is growing and the issues that are facing our legal department here in the county, this did pass through county services with very good, positive feedback from all of our colleagues recognizing the finance and budget. I apologize. I got home very late last night. That's okay. And anyway, the discussion was positive, and yes, we do need this, and only we, the county, and the citizens would benefit by having this law. Kirk, I'll let you, my colleague, pass it on.
Justice Lyons?
Thank you. I move that we pass this item.
I have a motion to pass item 16.6 by Justice Lyons. I heard second by Justice Dennis. Is there any further discussion amongst the body? Any public comments on item number 16.6? Seeing none, this is a motion by Justice Lyons. I'm sorry. It's getting late tonight, guys. Justice Lyons, second by Justice Dennis. Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Justice Ricker? Yes. Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes. Yes. Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Dean? Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Coger? No. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes.
Item number 16.6 is adopted. Item number 17, Counselor, will you read that by title only?
Item 17 is a resolution authorizing the Washington County Judge to apply for a grant on behalf of Washington County.
Justice Lyons?
Thank you. A quick question. This is considered an appropriations ordinance, correct?
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution. Okay.
Read once, 8 votes.
Okay, thank you. Just so as I did in the Finance and Budget Committee, I do support this. I think the CRI is a good endeavor for the county to work through. It works to provide it. I was a little concerned that we got a mail. I think all the JPs got this mail late today via email. And the sender of it made a statement that the prosecutor's office does not favor the program. I bring this up because I really am hearing a lot of misinformation coming into this from citizens, and I really wish you would do your homework and you would bring us good, solid, based facts, because that is not correct. I called Prosecutor Carter today and asked him, because that didn't align with what my perception was of what the prosecutor office did support. He provided to me that the prosecutor's office does support the CRI and does support, and he wishes that we would expand it as soon as we can so that women and men both could attend the CRI, because then that gives him more ability to use other programs for those that go through the CRI program. So because it came in, I know we all got it. I want to make sure everybody understood what the true vision and opinion of the prosecutor's office is. I believe the CRI is a good endeavor. We should go through it. I think this gives us the ability to do the needed work in there to get us to that expansion. I think this is one step to many, right, to get us there. And then it gives the prosecutor's office more latitude to be able to provide more programs for those that go through this program. Thank you.
Justice Ecke?
Thank you, Judge. I'd like to make a motion to pass item number 17, authorizing the Washington County Judge to apply for grants on behalf of Washington County.
I have a motion to pass by Justice Ecke, second by Justice Dean.
And I would also like to say, everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but they're not entitled to their own truth. And a lot of people are sending information that is just not true. And along with my colleague, opinion is opinion, but truth is truth. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Justice Hickey. Justice Ricker?
I just want to I don't object to this program, but I do think we need to be aware of the fact that we're probably going to have to increase the manpower on the sheriff's office jail side, because we are going to have jailers at this program. And I just want this body to be aware that that's probably going to be coming.
I guess if I could just jump in here for just a second and just say, regardless of whether or not CRI continues to see the success that it's seen, this is still a Washington County asset building that needs to be restored back to its usage. And so that's where my independent thought there is. That's the way I would address that to you, Justice Ricker. Is, and also, yes, if we were to get this grant, once again, gives us the ability to apply. There's going to be a process that we have to go through, and we will be bringing you guys back a lot of details, not just about this grant. If we are awarded it you will still have to have a vote on this grant if we were to receive the funds to expend them. And so you'll have all those details. We have a chicken and egg problem right now. You know, we need the money to get the engineering and the design. You know what I mean? So that's where it's at. But all that to say, you guys will continue to be a part of this. We will continue to plan for CRI or whatever that building's usage is, and you guys will have those details, if I could comfort you to that level, Justice Ricker. Justice Coger?
Yes, thank you. I have not seen that email, I guess, that you referred to, but I want to speak just for a minute. So last year, when I spoke in favor of the women's correctional facility that was there, I want to say that you can't compare that to what we're talking about now for the CRI. It's like comparing apples and oranges.
Will you cue your mic, Justice Hickey? We have a point of order by Justice Hickey. Will you please state it, Justice Hickey?
It's not germane to the resolution.
Are your comments germane to this topic tonight, Justice Coger?
Yes, sir, they are.
Okay. You can continue at the risk of further. Please continue.
Okay, I would like to do that. Okay, so the program that was there, the old facility, is nothing like the one that we're talking about now with the CRI. That program was nationally recognized by the National Center for State Courts, and it helped women who had already been sentenced, I'm
going to bring back up the point of order. I'm having a failure to see how this resolution to apply for this grant, how your comments are germane to that, Justice Coger. I'm under the authority now of Justice Hickey with her. So can you make your comments germane to the item, please?
I just thought people would want to know what I was talking about when I go into this, but.
That's not addressed in Robert's rules. We have to go by what's germane.
Correct.
I don't know why people don't want to hear it, but let me speak about the CRI expansion.
That's still not germane to the resolution. It's just a grant approving.
I have a point of order by Justice Hickey.
Thank you.
New topic, it's not germane.
Okay,
Will you please try to.
I'm speaking about this resolution.
This has to do with applying for a grant on behalf of Washington County. That is what the discussion is about. And so that way you have the authority to receive grant money for Washington County.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Justice Hickey, will you please, Justice Coger, will you please continue?
Thank you. So back in January of this year, when we heard about the CRI, it was introduced as a pilot program. I supported the program at that time under very specific conditions. The CSU building was empty and going unused. We already had the RSET grant funding. Our match would be around $150,000, and many of you were there when we were talking about that at that meeting. Then a few weeks later, this court appropriated $575,000 for the project. Some of that was startup cost, but part of it is to fund the program through the final quarter of this year. It takes time to gather data and metrics to measure a program like the CRI.
Judge, point of order has nothing to do with the resolution.
I agree
Once
with Justice
again,
Hickey.
this is a fourth point of order, and I think a vote needs to be made. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you. We're going to move on, Justice Coger. I'm sorry. Justice Rivera-Lopez.
Thank you, Judge. I would like to say that I understand that this resolution is about not limiting the horizons that we have to address people that are currently, incarcerated or going through our justice system. It is not limiting the horizons of our tools to go about how we treat people who are currently going through our justice system. I do understand a lot of what the public's pushback has been about other forms that we may have seen of addressing these things, but I don't think that detracts from whether or not the programs that we have pursued to this time have been effective or not. I think that ultimately this is just about making sure that a county asset could be used in the future. It's going to need upkeep. Whether or not we choose to do it now, we are going to have to do something with this asset. And I think that we should not limit our horizons by not applying for funds that may be available. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Justice Lyons?
Thank you, Judge. Colleague spoke that remind me that based on some comments that came up, and again, I agree with JP Lopez. It's a good program. The building needs to be up. The grant gives us that ability. There was talk about the operation budget. I think everybody here, we've talked about that, and I think we're all going in with our eyes wide open. We understand there needs to be an operation budget. We understand that's coming, and we believe, or I believe, in this program and that the operation budget would be well worth the price that we pay to continue to operate that. And this resolution gives us the ability to submit a grant that helps us get that building back up to standards that it needs to be so we can continue to do that. Thank you, Judge.
Justice Rios Stafford?
Thank you. Quick question. In some of the discussions that I've had, my understanding is that we're on the verge of or have basically outgrown the kitchen and laundry facilities inside the CSU building because of the success of the program, because that many people haven't been using that building. Is my kind of assessment of that correct? That was my understanding.
That is what we're running into.
Yeah.
And so we've never had that building to that capacity to hold that number of people. They are functioning. I don't want to give you that kind of alarm, but they're just saying it's a logistical consideration to run laundry and food through there.
And when it was the CSU, on average, about how many people were in there?
Two or three, maybe.
2 or 3.
On a high, I mean, at one time, that might have been a high count. So, yes, we are seeing occupancy in that building that we haven't seen before in terms of, and of course, those people are living there 24/7, and so that, but yes.
Right, correct. So regardless of what happens with the future of the CRI, what this grant is about is applying for this funding to use the larger kitchen and laundry facility in the larger building. And so regardless of what happens with this CRI, I think it behooves us to open those doors to allow the program that's even currently there right now to continue operating with adequate resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Rios Stafford.
Point of order.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, just because I got called for point of order, I did not appeal those. But I have the right to speak, and I want to speak on this.
Okay.
You do not have the right to stop me from
You do
speaking.
not have the floor, Justice Coker.
Okay.
I do not know what you want me to do.
I want you...
We have had repeated points of order that I've had to levy. I don't have a dog in this fight, but you have to owe your colleagues the amount of respect, and I'm sorry.
Well, go...
That's it. Are there any public comments on item number 17? Public comments.
Mac Mayfield, 980 Rocky Lane, Fayetteville. I remember being here 3 years ago in the July Quorum Court meeting when one of the JPs said, "We're tired of hearing these blowhards, these community activists. Let's put it on a ballot and we'll listen to the people." It went on the ballot. It lost. Expansion of the jail lost 60-40. So I don't know that if we keep adding beds, and apparently we're cruising for having another 200 beds between the COVID mitigation project, this, and now starting to move back into the old jail. I don't think you can have public support for it. Plain and simple. The ballot was the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments. It's fine.
It's working?
Yeah, you can
I've never
speak.
done this before, so excuse me. Hi, my name is Arlene Jones, and I'm a Washington County resident, and I would like to read a letter from one of your other Washington County citizens. To whom it may concern, my name is Micah Sullivan. I was previously incarcerated in Washington County and later out of Fayetteville ACCC. Speaking from my experience on the inside, I find it hard to understand why the women's prison was closed to sentenced individuals. Women who were at a point in their journey where they were ready to take their final steps before reintegrating into society. Now, because of this change, women who are sentenced are being held even longer in county jails that are already overcrowded, sometimes before they've even gone to trial. I've heard that reopening or repurposing this facility will cost over $1 million, even though it was fully operational less than a year ago. To someone who's been through the system, this entire process feels not only confusing, but wasteful. It raises a lot of questions, both about where taxpayer dollars are going and who truly benefits from these decisions. From what I've seen, the current system seems to serve a small population while the rest continues to struggle. Recidivism isn't failing, it's getting worse. And that's not because people no longer need jail stays. What people really need are things that give them a reason not to come back. Jobs with purpose and room to grow, livable wages and benefits, access to mental and physical health care, safe and stable housing. Those are the things that stop the cycle, not extra time behind bars. I'm not saying the classes and groups don't help. ACCC gave me tools and perspective that I still carry with me. But no amount of programming can make up for the double the time in jail-like conditions. At some point, longer incarceration just becomes trauma, not rehabilitation. I imagine risk level and criminal charges will play a big part in how this new facility is used, but in many cases, the people affected by this change aren't violent offenders, and their victims are no more often harmed than consumers of tobacco, alcohol, and processed sugar. Thank you for your time and for considering the perspectives of people who have lived this reality. Michael Sullivan, lived experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comments.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Beth Koger. I live at 3661 East Embry Drive in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So people have made comments tonight about the grant and how it's going to be used. But how do we know that the best use of this $1.5 million is to expand the laundry and the kitchen? What if it turns out that there are better uses for that building where we don't need an expanded laundry and an innovative kitchen, where we're not feeding maybe 70 people or more, 100 people or so? What if we could use that money for other things? Like the grant does allow for other uses. It allows for healthcare facilities, childcare facilities, community centers, senior or youth centers, libraries, museums, recycling centers, training expenses related to work development. So we haven't had a discussion really about if this grant money that if this is the best and wise use of it. And again, we may not even get the 1.5 million. The website says that the grants may be offered that are less than the application request. So I would just ask that before we move forward, we consider, is this the best use? And we need, and entertain people who have other ideas about what the best use could be. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments.
Hello, Quorum Court members and County Judge Deakins. I understand that looking at this building in several different ways, it's been brought up about the success, quote unquote, of the current CRI program, despite any outcome information that's provided with the public, despite the MOU that's in place that states quarterly that reports will be given detailing the program activities, client outcomes, and financial expenditures. Additionally, it says the program evaluation will include measures of client outcomes such as recidivism rates, employment rates, and overall health and well-being. I ran into a gentleman who had a parole revocation. I was here from South Arkansas. I ran into him in the jail lobby. He had a cell phone that was dead. He didn't have a transportation and a ride back to South Arkansas. Part of the MOU seems to say on the first page that we're going to do re-entry planning and support. It just feels like I hear a lot about the success metrics, but I run into someone who in particular was in the facility and he didn't seem very successful when he was exiting the facility. Additionally, do we know the all-in costs that happen to the families and the individuals that participate in the CRI program? I received a letter in the mail today asking a current participant is trying to get us to pay, AJRC to pay for an electronic bracelet so they can go home and be with their family. So it seems like that burden is potentially being placed on those individuals. It was mentioned earlier about this building, dreaming about this building. It's interesting, this dream seems to only be able to happen with a very small few. When our county has hundreds of thousands of citizens who do dream about this building, like myself and others, and do ask you, is this the greatest, best use? When we go to look at even just investing in this county asset, we really have to ask ourselves, is this $1.5 million where we're looking at changing the laundry and the kitchen area, is that how we should be using county resources? Yes, we should maintain our buildings in the county, but if we're going to potentially look at this as an asset where the land is more valuable than the current facility, we have the possibility of scrapping this entire building and building up 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stories and making some level of mixed-use building, et cetera. Are we going to do that after we put $1.5 million into it? Those are possibilities that can happen. I know I see people making, odd faces, but we can have radical imagination. What if this can be a revenue-generating building that helps to pay for the shortfall of the quarter-cent sales tax that today for the jail operations is only going to generate under $18 million when the jail is $26 million? And then no one's talking about the 88 beds being built today that we could put this program
Thank you,
in
ma'am.
and don't need this
That's the
building.
end of public comments.
Thank
Public
you.
comment?
I'm Margaret Ann Gilmore. I live at 3029 West Feather Rock Way. Good evening. I understand that this discussion is about applying for a grant. However, I also feel like a lot of this money is going to be put towards increasing jail beds, expanding the jail. I was here in 2022 when the public voted they did not want an expansion of the jail. So I feel like that's the public opinion for now. I also heard about the National Center for Courts did an assessment called the Criminal Justice Assessment Study. Some of their recommendations have been implemented, but not all of them. I would like to see these recommendations implemented before we increase jail beds. One of them that has not is the Criminal Justice Coordinating Group and the Pretrial Service Division. People waiting for arraignment should not be in jail. I think if we examine the people in jail, why are they in jail, and is that necessary, our community would be more progressive and we wouldn't need so much jail and jail beds. The recommendations from the Criminal Justice Assessment Study is to help keep nonviolent citizens out of jail instead of building more beds. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a motion to pass item number 17 by Justice Secchi, a second by Justice Dean. Mr. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Justice Ricker? Yes, sir. Yes. Justice Pond? Yes. Yes. Justice Bruns? Yes. Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes. Yes. Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Abstain. Justice Lyons? Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Dean? Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Coger? No. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes.
That item is adopted. Next up was item number 18, which was added by Justice Rios Stafford by amendment to the agenda. Counselor, will you read that by title only?
An ordinance amending the membership of the Washington County Planning Board.
Justice Rios Stafford?
Thank you, Judge. This came out of our discussion, I believe it was the County Services Committee meeting, because we have an issue that we're out of compliance with. We're going to be out of compliance with the new state law that's going to go into effect next month that says the majority of our planning board members need to live in the unincorporated areas of the county. And so at that discussion, it became clear that the desire of the majority of the Quorum Court was to increase the membership of the County Planning Board from 7 to 9 members as a way for us to come into compliance with the new law. And so I'm bringing this forward as just a standalone ordinance. What I gave to everybody, I've attached the state law itself, and the text of the ordinance basically just copies the state law pretty much word for word. And so with that, I move to put this ordinance on the, what do I need to do here? Move it to the second reading or
First,
move to pass first?
Counselor Lester would like to comment on this real quick.
Absolutely.
And then
Sure.
we'll get some guidance on the way to move forward. Counselor Lester?
Okay.
So I just want to caution you all, and with all due respect, I think this ordinance is a little bit improper, and here's the reasons why. First off, there are a total of 4 ordinances that have been passed by the Quorum Court over the years, starting in 1978, that address the issue of planning board members, and this ordinance does not repeal or amend specifically any of those ordinances, which can be problematic.
Okay.
The second thing is the planning ordinance that you currently have in front of you also addresses this issue, and if it's passed without being amended, then it would completely undo potentially if this passes first. And so I think that I don't know that this standalone ordinance is any way to get us around the requirement that based on what's before us, we are going to have to amend and send that planning ordinance back to the planning board and start the process all over on the complete planning. And so I would urge you not to support this, because I don't think based on where we are that it's going to be proper. I think it's probably going to be more problematic than it is beneficial for us in the way that we're doing this.
So 2 things. One is that it needs to repeal everything that already exists. You're saying, right?
Well, it would probably
repeal-
need to mention those and say it had to have a repealer clause.
Okay.
But additionally, it is already in an ordinance that will be on its third and final reading at the next meeting.
Right, and I know that JP Lyons has brought forward an amendment to that, which would then send that back to the planning board for a new hearing. Is that my understanding? If we amended the big planning and zoning ordinance,
that's correct.
In this correction, we'd need to kind of reset the clock and start that process over again. To me, this was, that we're not going to hear that on its third reading though until next month. And so that reset wouldn't happen until after.
Right.
After
if something's
the
not
law
passed
went
by
into
August
effect.
the 5th,
Yeah.
then we're not going to have a planning board until that is remedied. You're correct. That's the conundrum that we're in at this point.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
I'm going to move it to the second reading and let the Quorum Court discuss and amend and see what we want to do.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and move this to the second reading.
Correct.
By Justice Rios Stafford. Second by Justice Bruns. Okay, I have a motion to move this to the second reading by Justice Rios Stafford, second by Justice Bruns. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? No. Those have it. This item will move to the second reading next month's Quorum Court meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to some good work this evening after a long evening. The committee reports are in your packet. This meeting's adjourned.